Okay.
I took the right road.
It's it's pretty washed out there. Maybe that's a bit. There we go. Okay. Logan, this is James Tabby doing a quick video before we run to the house. Logan Martel says, I just AI'd a female, progesterone level is 85.2, seems very high. Does that mean she's maybe pregnant? Okay, so progesterone levels don't give you any indication of whether a dog is bred successfully. What they do is tell you what's the right time to breed a dog. So you don't tell what the units are. If this was in Europe and it's in nanograms per mole, then you divide that by 3 and that'd be a number that's closer to 28, and that would probably be okay. If you've got an IDEX machine in America and this is nanograms per milliliter, then that dog should have been bred some time ago. But like I say, the actual level is not affected by whether a dog is pregnant or not. Dogs that haven't been bred will still be at a high level.
I'm on the wrong street.
So, I think you are. I did this the other day.
How'd I do this?
59th Street. You got to make a. Yeah.
I got to make a.
Right.
Yeah.
Sorry, we're driving and we made a boo-boo. So you got to head towards the sun, Tammy.
I know that.
Take a hang a right. Okay. Expensive debt 940 PS4. How do you know if your dog needs a C-section? Is it obvious when they're struggling to get them out? My Frenchie's having 10 pups, so I'm expecting a C-section. Well, I mean, okay, if you listen to any of my stuff, you know, Tammy and I, we tell you that it's unwise to not do a C-section. You should always be prepared to do a C-section on a Frenchie, otherwise you can get big trouble. Now, you've got a litter of 10, probably means you've got some small puppies in there, might be okay. If she's a big dog bred to a small stud, maybe okay. If you did an x-ray so that you knew they've got 10 puppies and you looked at the x-ray to see if they're all small puppies, it's possible that you could have them naturally. But our advice to you would be, at the very least, have a vet on standby, and better yet, do a C-section. I have a lab that's 61 days pregnant. She just the last week she's been looking like she has a prolapse. Any advice? Yeah, I think that one of the things that you can do is a C-section. So one of the things you've got to watch out for is a dog like a lab that normally would have natural birth can get in trouble if they prolapse. And so the one way to avoid that is to have a C-section, but you've got to follow all the rules that we suggest in terms of Frenchies and when the C-sections have happened. Otherwise you can get in trouble. Are we in Mustang?
Yes, we're in Mustang.
Okay, all right.
Crazy.
We'll get home.
Means more videos, right, James?
Yes.
Ooh, sun's bright.
Okay, let's go on down here. Okay, so I've already answered this in the last one, so I'm almost there.
Oh, you did this coming back from the airport, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I did. Someone says, Irene Martinez says, I can't wait to see full visual fluffies as puppies. Well, they're coming up because we've got a whole mess load of them that were born
they were born Mother's Day.
Yes. So we will put a video up. The reason we haven't put a video up in the last 3 days is because we really do have some small puppies amongst some regular sized puppies.
There was 4 of them, yeah.
4 of them weighed 5 ounces at birth, and they're doing okay, but it's a little bit, you know, we're having to tube feed to kind of supplement Mum while the milk was coming in. Mum's doing great, but it's been some work. I mean, every 3 hours we're getting up and tube feeding, so if we look haggard and tired, it's because we are. What can you give to puppies born 8 days ago? Puppy has stuffy nose and mucus. What's going on, Tammy?
Sounds like a little cold.
Yes, cold.
Not keeping your puppies covered up when they're with
that
mama
could be it, or it could be the milk.
Any kind of draft with these French bulldog babies, they're going to catch a cold.
Could be milk inhalation causing pneumonia.
Yeah.
I think anytime you've got mucus, it's time for antibiotics because you want to get on top of this, especially with little bitty puppies. They don't have much reserve. So if you've got mucus, I think it's time for some Clavamox or some amoxicillin.
So get it from your vet.
Yeah, you got to go to the vet to get that. You can actually find things like fish mox, but I'm not going to talk about that here. I've done a whole video on that. But basically, either way, antibiotics is what's called for here.
Yep.
So someone here says, Kristen Holmes says, we purchased the heating system for our DuraWalt whelping box and it's great. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate the shout out. Puppies love the heat and it's adjustable. We need it shipped out faster due to our litter dropping. You call me right back. And I left a message. It's giving me great people to do business with. Love to see people being honest business and be good people. 5 stars all day. Well, thank you very much. And we appreciate you. We appreciate you letting other people know about that. We do work hard to help people out, and that's an example of somebody who's likes what we did. So thank you. Appreciate that, Kristen. Question regarding a breeding female. Okay, well, you've got to tell me what the question is, because I'm not nurse. Who's the psychic? Miss Chloe? Miss Chloe. I'm not Miss Chloe.
Oh, you're not Miss Chloe.
No, it's like
she's not a nurse. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look in your crystal ball, James.
Talking about stimulating puppies. Just have a litter. Mum doesn't want to lick them. Well, then use the Tammy trick.
Peanut butter at the side of the little bottoms.
Yep. They'll lick the peanut butter off.
Licking that for sure.
She'll lick that. Get them.
And then that'll get her started.
Yep. Right.
It did ours, and she still wants to try to clean them up. and they're got one that we're holding for a customer. That's what are they? It's like 12 weeks old.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nikki Smith, if you, after breeding your dog on the 11th or 13th day, can you spill breed her again 3 days later just to be on the safe side and make sure? And also, my dog had a progesterone test of 8 on day 9. Can you breed your dog then, or do you have to wait until you have a progesterone level of 15? Okay, so we're talking about progesterone levels in dogs and what's the right time to breed. So normally you would, if you were breeding a single time, you'd breed in America. I say in America because we're talking about nanograms per milliliter, as opposed to Europe where we're talking about nanograms per mole, which is 3.19 times more. In America, we'd breed a vaginal AI on a 15. The day before, it'd be approximately an 8. So if you started breeding on an 8, you're a day early. If you breed 2 days later, you might be a day late. That's perfect. You've got it both sides. That's a great way to go at it. Should you keep on breeding? We don't. The reason we don't is because our males are used by other people, and that's depleting the male. So we try to breed twice, 2 days apart. But we do a test after the second breeding to make sure the level's at an 18 or higher. And if it's not, we will breed again and then test again in 2 more days. Hopefully that answers the question.
Ooh, that 7-Eleven's $2.99. Gas is up.
Yes.
Here in Oklahoma.
Yes.
Just like 3 days ago, it was $2.30 something, and that one was $2.99.
So Carla Dean says, hi, have you done a video on coat color DNA? I have done a crap load of those. There's lots and lots. I mean, I've probably got 30 videos on DNA.
Mm-hmm.
And why is it so important for breeding? Well, I mean, we harp on this. People will call up and say, what do you think my dog's going to produce? And the first question we always...
Send you a picture and say, tell me what color my dog is.
Right.
Photograph different every time you take a picture of a dog on colors.
Yeah, I mean, a chocolate dog can look blue and a blue dog can look chocolate. And look, if you are wanting to produce these different colors, the starting point is to know the DNA of your dog, because that lets you choose the DNA of the stud you're going to use. Armed with that information, you can very accurately predict all the colours that potentially you could produce, and approximately what ratio you'd get. You know, whether they're all going to be blues, or some of them are going to be lilacs, some of them are going to be pieds, whether they're going to have tan points, whether they're going to have marl, whether they're going to be cream. All of these things can be predicted of DNA. So DNA is not very expensive. It's $130 to do a complete coat color test for the majority of colors anyway, and animal genetics. And we highly recommend that's exactly what you do.
Because you know exactly what color your dog is and what it's carrying, and then you're able to read that off to a stud service.
Like us.
And yes, and you'll know exactly what kind of puppies you'll get.
Yeah, and you know, if you can't look, we've got a lot of dogs, and so you know the reason we have a lot of dogs is because they've got lots of different DNA. So the whole point of this is first thing is that some of our dogs are pretty expensive dogs, and consequently their DNA, to breed to them is not cheap. So why would you do that? Well, because you're going to get these colours out. So to have some idea about what you can produce would help you decide what makes sense. Should you go with $1,000 stud fee, or should you be paying something 10 times more than that? How accurate is it? It's very accurate. So, I do say occasional mistakes with DNA, but it's not very common, and it's in puppies where there's been some cross-contamination of DNA. So we use Animal Genetics at Tallahassee, Florida. They're great people. They do a good job, and for the most part, they are extremely accurate. But like everybody, they can make mistakes.
They're only human.
That's right. So here's the last one coming up here. Patricia Wise says, "Hi, I have a preemie that is 7 ounces. When I give more than 5 mils via tube, he seems to become lethargic. Should I give him 5 mils every 2 hours?"
That's a preemie,
well,
it's 7 ounces. That's pretty good.
No, I think what they mean is that she was born early, not that it's 7 ounces as a preemie. So if it's a French Bulldog, 7 ounce puppy, that's in the range. I mean, range of puppies that are quite healthy and normal at birth, 7 to 11 ounces. So 7 ounces, we just had a litter, we've got some 8 ounces in there, we've got 4 or 5 ounce puppies in there.
Yeah.
Now they are now at...
One was 4.9 and the rest of them were 1 to 5.6.
After 3 days, they're all now in the 7 ounce range, so we're putting weight on them. But, so here's the deal. Preemie, when we say preemie, we mean a baby that was probably was C-section early for whatever reason. And those puppies can have big problems with not being able to breathe properly, and it's to do with the fact that their lungs have not developed the surfactant that is needed to do the transition from being in the womb and being outside breathing air. When they're in the womb, they've got amniotic fluid in their lungs, they're not breathing oxygen. They get their oxygenation through the placenta and the blood supply from mum. If they're born early, the surfactant is not set up properly in their lungs, and so the transition between that and breathing air has a problem. And then you can have a big fight on your hands. And these puppies tend to start going down at about 48 hours after birth. So what do you do? So the answer is they may stop feeding, but the things that you absolutely need to have a hope of getting this done is feeding tube, goat's milk or Esplac like you're using, and an oxygen concentrator. Get them in an oxygen-rich environment, and you can go buy a oxygen concentrator for humans. I've picked up a couple of these, second-hand on Craigslist for $170 to $300, and that's absolutely what you need here. Is if you're going to get these puppies to make it, you're probably going to have to put them on oxygen and hopefully get their weight back up. But it's funny because you think they'd be in trouble the moment they're born, and they're born fine. They're wriggling around and everything's great, and then a few days later they start going down on you and you start losing puppies. So, hey, it's much better going this direction, isn't it?
Yeah.
So since the sun is so good going this direction, we'll do one more.
You still got... Oh, you mean one more?
Somebody's asking about how the test for puppy DNA. We're talking about removing dew claws, and Scarlet Grey Familia says, just wondering, do they grow back? No, not if you do it right. If you remove the dew claws properly, they will not grow back. If you do it incorrectly, then you can still do the DNA test, but one or both sides may grow back. So you've got to remove the whole dew claw to be successful at this. And I mean, I make mistakes sometimes still.
No, not Mr. James Chopping. Pretty paint.
Well, this is Camar Croft says, I have a mum that won't eat right now. How do I get her to eat? So it doesn't say whether she's a pregnant dog, but I'm guessing she is.
If you give them vitamins, that kind of helps encourage some eating.
What vitamins do you give?
Just dog vitamins, real good vitamin.
Pet tabs?
Well, I don't think they're called pet tabs anymore.
No.
I don't think that company makes the vitamins anymore. Right. Just a good dog vitamin would be good.
But you can go to chewy.com, right?
Mm-hmm.
And normally chewy.com's got...
well, you go PetSmart, Pet Edge, find vitamins. Don't get the one with the iron. Get the other.
So on Chewy, don't they have...
pretty.
Yeah, pretty paint. Doesn't Chewy have... what do you call that? You know, they give you stars for feedback. Chewy's got feedback, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So look at that, and people will be talking about which ones they like and choose one that other people are saying is good. Get some folic acid on board too, 5 milligrams, not 800 micrograms. That's about a seventh of what you need. 5 milligrams every day of folic acid. But it can be a problem, especially during that last 3 days of a pregnancy, because especially if she's full of puppies, because there's no room for her to eat and she's nauseated. So I think then it's like small meals frequently and something that is special, right? So Biljac, BIL-JAC.
I do cottage cheese.
Cottage cheese on it. You could boil up some chicken
I
and rice.
also sprinkle powdered goat's milk. Yeah.
Right. Just change it up. You know how it is if you're eating the same luncheon every day, it kind of gets boring. Give us something new. Sometimes hand feeding can make a big difference.
Don't go real long with the cottage cheese because the babies...
Especially before they have puppies, right? Because they can get loose stools.
Yes.
Get runny mess.
Yeah.
But I've seen Tammy do this quite a bit. She's got a dog that's not eating, and they won't eat any food, but Tammy will go in there and hand feed them. And I don't know what it is. I think it's because they love Tammy, because, hey, why would you not love this girl? But they absolutely will. Give me that look right there. But they absolutely will, when they wouldn't feed, all of a sudden they will feed when Tammy hands them some food. And the secret is to try to get some calories in. Especially, you don't want skinny dogs going into a pregnancy.
No.
Yeah.
No. It's hard to get weight. Put back on them.
Pretty about to get a pretty sunset here in Oklahoma, aren't we?
Yeah.
Okay. It's a long one, 16 minutes. All right, folks. Thanks for watching. Remember, we will put a video up, probably tomorrow, of these litter of full fluffies. So that is coming up.
Yes.
That is Denali, our blue and tan, carries cocoa and cream. ATA-T, and brindle no pied. Bred to Love My Lola, who is also a fluffy with a beautiful coat.
ATA, chocolate and tan, carries blue, carries cream.
No brindle no pied.
Right.
And we have got
lilac and tans, chocolate and tans, and platinums.
Yep.
Hopefully.
Yep. Okay. All right. We've got a phone call. We're going to run on. See you, everybody. Bye.
Bye-bye.